Hey there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to a new Smite video, and today we're going over the patch notes for 4.7 Pillars of Success. First and foremost, let's go for a god that's been, he's been a while. He's been a long wait, and he's finally here, and I'm glad he is. So, let's get right into it. Let's talk about Ganesh, the new god, Hindu god, god of success. He's one of the more popular gods among Hindu mythology. He's up there in terms of being recognized, like, Shiva, Parvati, and Vishnu. And obviously he's still a god worshipped for today, so let's talk about his passive first and foremost, because I think this is, to me, what sells him to me. I am very interested. Unlike Kuzumbo, I still haven't played Kuzumbo, but you know what? I know Kuzumbo's good, but I like Ganesh as a true support. Anyway, Ganesh's passive is Good Fortune. Upon killing an enemy god, Ganesh will instead give the nearest friendly god the kill credit. So basically, it is impossible for Ganesh to steal, or should I say virtually impossible for Ganesh to steal a kill. If you wanna play a god and not have to ever worry about kill stealing, you play Ganesh. Because if they couldn't get the kill, it's because they were too far away and they can't blame you for anything. If they still do, they're pretty sad people. Anyway, he'll receive rewards for an assist instead. In addition, his assist range is increased by 20 units, so 100 units total, unlike the standard 80. And the duration for his assists is increased by 5 seconds. So 15 seconds, which that's okay. So it's 10 seconds for the standard, now it's 15, and it was 80, now 100 in terms of units. Really good. I like this passive a lot. Now sure, I'd love to get kills on a god, but you know what? The only way you can get it is if you cleaned it up, because your allies couldn't finish it for you. But hey, it's still good. I like this. It's still okay. You're gonna, especially if you have trouble, like if you're helping a bottom feeding player, like one who's going negative, if they can get close, if your team can coordinate, you could either basically put all the kills into one person's basket, like a hunter, and get them into a late game faster, or you could give it to someone who's behind and give them the kill so they can get right back in it. Because that extra EXP and gold is really nice. Next up, Turn of Fate. Ganesh curses enemies with considerable willpower, damaging 90 to 330 plus 55% of your magical power. For each enemy hits up to a maximum of 5, all allied gods within 55 units of Ganesh gain bonus damage. Cost 65 to 85 mana, cooldown 14 seconds. Bonus damage per sec is 2%, so it's 10%. You can get up to 10%. So if you do this in front of a wave, I think it'll still work. But it is a really nice. It's a clear. It's his lane clear type of thing, or his main way of fighting in terms of abilities. But it's still really solid. If you can pull this off in a team fight, if you can get at least, just say if you get 2 enemies, increased damage by that much is still really good. I really doubt you're going to get all 5 unless you have somebody who can actually line them up. But other than that, I think it's really nice skill. In fact, he is so support oriented because his second ability, whichever you prefer pronouncing it, Ganesh begins chanting and rises into a lotus position where he is slowed slightly but allows him to travel freely in all directions. While chanting, he silences enemy gods, and a cone in front of him increases physical protections for all nearby allied gods. Cost 55 to 75, cooldown 14 to 10 seconds, duration 1.8 seconds, and protections are increased by 20 to 60. This, to me, also, in terms of abilities, I think this could help sell him, because if you can time this right, if you can counter burst type of damage moves with this, or you can dodge, or you can soften ultimates with this ability. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what people are going to max out first, the Turn of Fate or the Om. I think Om is one of those abilities, especially if you are a true support. You want this to be done before the mid-game happens, because that's when the team fighting begins. And you want to be around for that. And if you could time it right, you can actually weaken a lot of abilities. Like, I believe I mentioned it in other videos, but one thing I realized, Ra's Solar Blessing can allow our allies to tank an ultimate or something devastating. Like, I once got ganked by a Bakasura who ulted me, but I just dropped the Solar Blessing, and I lived long enough for I can get help from my Kali, and bam, Baka was gone, and that was all she wrote, because with the something like Solar Blessing, I was able to live longer. I was able to save my ass. I mean, of course there was healing involved, but the protections was what I was thinking of really saving me. And this is a similar case. Maybe not the healing factor, but the protections, especially if you put more points in it. 60 protections for everybody around you? Something, like, basically, you could walk out of a Zoo Soul a little bit more safer with this thing. I know that's an extreme example, but there are abilities, maybe you could soften the blow on them, like an AoE type of move. Or if somebody's, like, if there's a Nox trying to use her silence and then her grab, you could at the very least undo the grab with that. Or anybody who has an ability that takes some time, like a little bit of a wind-up, that you see coming, you could just undo it. You could just stop them from doing it. Like, my favorite thing to do is, I've been learning to play Thanatos, and when I see Bacchus, if I'm fighting a Bacchus and he tries to use a burp on me to make me get stunned eventually, I could just shut him up with my 3. You could do the same thing here. He's good to counter some soft overtime CC effects that enemies have to keep using to keep the duration going, or to cause the main effect, like a Bacchus burp. And now I think that's a really nice ability. So I'm going to be honest, I think this kit in general, is much more unique than I expected. And I'm glad for that. Anyway, let's get to the third ability, Remove Obstacles. Ganesh charges forward, hooking an enemy with his goad, holding them in place and damaging 75, 240, plus 45 of your magical power, or 45%, the enemy before knocking them up. While dashing, Ganesh passes through player-made deployables, cost 70 to 90, cooldown 15 seconds. Now, you know, they say we need to build a wall. You know what? Forget your wall. Forget your wall. He's going to go through it. He can go through anyone's wall. He can't destroy them because that'd be broken, but he could just go through it. He can keep up the chase, basically. Like, think of it this way. Like, a Ymir is the most obvious example. If a Ymir puts a wall to try to prevent himself to get away, but he's super low, a Ganesh could just go through the wall, and if he's lucky, he might hit him to stop him for that moment so the team could catch up and kill him, or you can do it for them. Or even if that's not enough, you could just use your 2 to help finish him off, or your Ohm so he can't freeze anybody, or use his 2 to fight back until your allies can wipe him out. This is a perfect chasing tool for a support. Despite how I say he's pure support, he has a slight hint of aggressiveness with this ability. I like it. I'm really looking forward to playing this god. But anyway, Dharmic Pillars. Ganesh summons the 4 great pillars of righteousness to imprison his enemies. Between each of the pillars, a magical field is created, and the enemies who pass through the field take 95 to 255 plus 40% of your magical power as damage. Are slowed and have their protections reduced for 3 seconds. Cost of 80 to 120 mana. Cooldown is 75 seconds. The slow is 20 to 40%. Slow duration is 3 seconds. Protection reduction is 15 to 55. If you've played Smite in the really old days with like the old Wa and her ultimate, basically this is exactly like that, except no shake and bake. Now I've heard of shake and bake. Obviously I wasn't around for that, but you can't really do that much these days. But I would think with 0.5 seconds for each tick to create another tick of damage, I'm pretty sure a Fender can still do it. Just a really slow shake and bake. Anyway, here's Ganesh's palette swap. I knew it was a pink elephant when they were talking about it, and honestly, I kind of had a feeling. Anyway, Gampati Ganesh should be pretty good. Now let's go into New God skins. Now they're actually telling us what they are, so I can't place bets on what I think was going where, but hey, oh well. First off, here's Vampiric Scylla, which you can get from just by purchasing the Spring Split Fantasy Pack. And Modern Messenger Mercury, which, I'll be honest, I kind of forgot where you got him from.
They had bad blood.
Smell you later.
Okay, Gary Oak. Next up, Sparrow Nike, with a lot of emphasis on her ass. And then Secret Order Uller, who is basically, speaking of ass, we have an Ass Creed reference. Assassin's Creed Uller.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's just me.
After hanging out with me, you might experience some side effects. All of them are death.
But Nike, I was really tempted to put it was me, Dio. Maybe I'll do that, I'll think about it, but I'm afraid of copyright. But anyway, finally, last skin, played by Sean Shiplock. I recognize that sass. I've known Sean Shiplock even before he was actually doing bigger roles like in Zelda games and all that. But either way, it's good to hear him again as World Walker Janus.
Fall for it!
Anyway, I think he and Uller both are in a chest, and if I had to guess, they didn't say what kind of chest it is, but I'm pretty sure it's one of those 55 items chests, and I'm not looking forward to that. But let me tell you, that World Walker Janus skin, the portals look amazing. They look really good. Anyway, new emotes, obviously. Here's the summer... Oh, okay, here it is. Season ticket, summer split. Obviously, you know the things from before with the new Vampiric Scylla. Summer split passes, bundle with points. And then you get season ticket jump stamp. Because, like I said, if there's something, anything that looks like they could cash money off of it, Hi-Rez will do that. Jumping too? My only guess is that eventually we're going to have, like, towers being changed as part of the theme, which that shouldn't happen, but for your own visual experience, it will. I just have a feel. I'm just like, you know what, it sounds like a shot in the dark, but let me tell you, if I told you 2 months ago they were going to make little extra things for jumping, you would have laughed at me. It's a stupid idea, but they want to make their money. But I'm not there for that. New feature, they say with a smug face as they expect your money. Anyway, Soul Announcer Pack, that is going to be awesome. Roman Recall skin, 2017 season ticket music theme, and okay, this is where you get Mercury, the Modern Messenger. He is kind of like the parallel to the Modern Mercenary with Nemesis. Summer Recall skin as well. Summer Split is having a soft reset. All players have their accounts soft reset and rank queues for the Summer Split. Basically, even though you get resetted, you're going to still be around that area. This is basically a chance to say, hey, when you were going through your ranked and you weren't doing much, like you weren't really getting farther, like you might have felt like me. I feel like I'm a gold 5, gold 4. I don't think I should be in the silver tier. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, but hey, that's just what I feel. I have a chance now to prove that and get in there. But you're going to queue up against almost anybody, but it's not going to be as bad as the beginning was, where it was pretty much the Wild West. This is much more organized. Now that everybody knows their ELO, you're basically going to still go up against people around their ELO, but you may go up against some people that are really lower than you or really higher than you, depending on where you rank. Players have their matchmaking rank adjusted to their average MMR value. Basically what I've been saying, players need to play a new set of qualification matches to obtain a rank. God leaderboards. Basically everyone who got in place to the top 3 will get their gem bonuses. God leaderboards will also be reset, and also to qualify you'll need to play 10 games, because when I played Chunga, I played enough matches and won with her, I got into Diamond, and now I'm pretty sure I'm not there because I had some really bad matches with some counter picks against me. Back-end adjustments. There have been a number of back-end adjustments to allow more accurate and improved placements. Fine by me. Player placement after qualifying updates. Adjusting how players are placed out of qualifications, making it more difficult to obtain a very high division. Tribute point gains, losses. Now they're basically going to explain why you get what you get, because people have always said that. How come I lose 11 when I lose, but if I win I only get like 9? It makes it a very hard uphill climb. It should be just either say up 9, down 9 or something. That's the thing that makes sense. Now they're basically going to explain what factored into that. Now, lobbying order updates. The first 2 players in the picks and bans lobby will now be your top 2 players sorted by MMR. Now this time, this is the best thing from this change, and I'm so happy. Select from any owned god. Now the problem was that I hated, so have you ever wanted to play, like, say, okay, I'll pick a god for you. Like, say they wanted, okay, now let's say I am the, let's say I am the 4th pick, and I'm gonna play support like Kepri, but you know he's gonna get banned. He's a good first pick if you want to get him, but you want to get Kepri, but he's banned. But you're gonna say, hey, I'll get, like, can you pick Kepri for me? I'll pick god you want. So let's like say you wanted to play Apollo. I'll pick Apollo. I don't have Apollo. I don't have him mastered, but let's just go with that. But like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a Matarasu. I don't have a Matarasu mastered. I don't have any god that you want for you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just before in the past, if they didn't have a mastery of your god, they couldn't play. They couldn't get him for you. That was such a problem, and I understand where they're coming from. Now you still need to master a lot of gods to get into rank, but I really didn't. I really couldn't stand it. But now if you own the god, you can get them. Now, like, you could have a rank 5 mastery with Ares, but if you didn't own him, you can't pick him. Nor can anyone pick him for you, pick him trade for you. But as long as you own the god, you can get it. There's going to be TP decay. TP decay has been updated to more intense due to shorter split durations. TP decay will begin after 2 weeks of not playing ranked and will become more intense after capping out 6 weeks. After 2 weeks of not playing, players will lose 2 TP per day. After 3 weeks, it'll be 4, 4, 6, 5, 8, 6, 10. Playing a single game will reset the timer for the decay to begin. You can now demote TP up, demote through TP decay up until gold 5. Which I'm not sure how that's going to work if you're below that, like where I am. Anyway, miscellaneous, while receiving gems, favorite fantasy points. Now they'll tell you how much you got exactly, because I got really annoyed because of those stupid chests. Which, by the way, I'm hoping for tomorrow. I'm sorry as well for not uploading frequently, like I promised I was going to try and do. But I've had tests in college, and next week I already have a math test, and then 2 weeks from that we have finals. So I'm just going to give you a warning there. Like patch notes videos, I'm still going to churn out regardless, but I'm just saying this next week. After Monday, it should be a little more calm for a bit. But after that, as soon as I hit early May, I am going to try and put it in gear and focus on college. So videos will be slow. I will try to get those easy to put out videos, but things that require a little more editing, such as the next MLG video or the or discussion video, because I do have 2 discussions I want to try and do. They probably won't happen, and in fact they may not happen at all if they take too long, because it might be irrelevant by then. So yeah, just a heads up, video delays and slower production rate will come soon, but just giving you an FYI. Alright, items, bug fixes, relics, they got some new FXs. Relics, some fallen relics have new visual FXs, Phantom Veil, Bracer of Undoing, Cursed Ankh, and by the way, I'm sorry. I'm not. I was like, Phantom Veil is now going to be much more distinguishable than. I'm sorry. I am completely teleport, or not teleport. Blink. There you go. I'm sorry. I need to probably cut that out so I can look like I'll get it faster. Basically, Blink is now going to have a different color. It's going to have an orange color, so you can see. You can easily distinguish Blink from Phantom Veil. Anyway. Mystical Mail fixed an issue where Mystical Mail is not scaling with items like Runeforge Hammer, Stone of Gaia. Stone of Gaia now stops Ares' ultimates no escape properly, because it was a pull. Bug fixes, basically all these gods, most of these gods have, they actually give the correct radius for this ability. It gets very annoying. I'm just going to mention the ones that have a different thing. So Fafnir. Fixed an issue where Fafnir could recall during the transformation back to dwarf form. Valkyrie's Discretion. Freya's ultimate should no longer hitch clicking to fire this ability. Yeah, I noticed this when I played Freya once, and that's why I didn't want to play her again. I once tried playing her, but the problem was when I ulted, I just wanted to be precise when I clicked, but I know I had 4 shots, and they didn't come out. So it's like, what the hell's going on there? And now they fixed it, so maybe I'll try her again. Kuzumbo Sumo Slam should now properly be immune to roots during its duration. New on the Clay Soldiers. Clay Soldiers should no longer scale with physical power. The Morrigan's Phantom will no longer add stacks to Isis's power when passive when destroyed. Changeling Morrigan's Phantom would no longer add stacks power when destroyed. Fixed an issue where targets where a Wheelix would persist after transforming into her. The Jing Chen world with a Rage of Steel. Fixed an issue where your ultimate on a knocked up target would not cause them to be thrown. Because that didn't make any sense. Anyway, new belt of, we got Frenzy again. It's back, but now it's just added all ally guys in a 70 tick range or whatever will gain a 10% increased damage and 15% attack speed for 5 seconds. While active, you gain plus 10 bonus damage towards objectives. You could basically murder towers and phoenixes faster now. Cooldown to 120. Now, when you upgrade it, it provides an additional plus 10 flat pen to all gods affected and increases the duration to 8 seconds. It's pretty good now. I'm kind of glad it's back the way it was because it was broken back then. Well, in ranked, really, if the match went on that long, the team that was ahead could just get frenzy and end another team easy, even if they had the fire giant buff. Anyway, Blackthorn Hammer increased the health 250 to 350. I think Blackthorn has such good potential, but I'm glad they buffed it because it needs a shot at redemption. I think its passive is great, but it just doesn't justify itself. Cursed Ankh, cooldown reduced from 150 seconds to 100 seconds, and now the upgrade, I believe, had... Okay, no, I think it's a typo. I heard that it was supposed to be 120 seconds for the normal Cursed Ankh, but when you upgrade it, it goes down to 100 seconds. Anyway, yeah, basically this is to help with... This is to be a better anti-heal, because nobody really picked up Cursed Ankh in something like Conquest, surprisingly. You'll see it picked up more in like a clash, a casual clash match, or even a joust, but you don't see it much in Conquest. I think it can be a good item, but now I think it justifies the pick because 150 seconds just to use it once? That's stupid. The duration is good, but the time for recharge does not justify it at all. Anyway, Gladiator Shield increased physical protection 40 to 45, increased the percent of health and mana restored from its passive from 2 to 2.5. Yeah, my throat's starting to give out, so I need to try and get through this quickly. Anyway, new Lona's Mask. This is joining the ranks of Bumba's and Rangda's Mask. We now have Lona's Mask. This only costs 500 gold, but here's the passive. This is interesting. This is for supports to pick up, by the way. Being in assist range of a minion or jungle camp monster, death without dealing a killing blow gives you a stack. Only the closest ally god in assist range with Lona's Mask gets a stack. Each stack provides plus 2 health. Stacks are permanent. Stacks up to 75 times. Pawn reaches 75 stacks. You are given 400 gold. So basically, you're getting an 80% refund if you can complete this thing. And you're going to keep this thing for a while. Like, between this and Watcher's Gift, you're probably going to sell Watcher's Gift first now. Maybe. Assuming you don't have this thing stacked. Also, it'll still give you 333 gold when you return it. So, you're going to get profit if you can max this thing out. Basically, this is to encourage supports to help other gods clear their buffs, clear camps, and all that such without getting the killing blow. Combine this. If you combine this with Watcher's Gift, it is a really nice combo. I won't be surprised if this becomes the standard for supports. Just no shoes, which means you are even more immobile than you ever were, but I think it's okay. Meditation Cloak getting a bit of a nerf for the early game. Like they explained it, basically supports were better at picking this up than say an ADC, which I noticed that was a weird thing when I play Assault, and like if you had a Guardian, any Guardian, you could pick. If they picked it up, it felt like it healed a lot more than say an Assassin could. But now it's going to be flat across the board. Healing changed from 15% of max caster's maximum HP to now 75 plus 12 per level. Change mana restored from 35 of the cast maximum to 30% of the target's maximum mana. That makes sense. The Cloak upgrade, however, is still good. It heal change from 15% of caster's maximum health to 75 plus 12. Now change mana restored from 35% of the caster's health. Same thing. Rage is different. Rage has a price increase, but a new passive again. Killing or getting an assist on an enemy god gives you 1 stack. Each stack provides 1% crit strike. Stacks are permanent, stacks to 5 times, but if you get the 5 stacks, it goes from 4% to a max total of 10% extra crit. This thing, they're trying to make it useful. It might be useful. I can only say it might. I think we all need to wait and see if people enjoy using it. You see Shield of Regrowth, you know what's coming. After seeing the SPL, you know what's coming. Runeforged Hammer, increased health from 200 to 250. Increased passive damage from crowd control targets from 10% to 15%. Shield of Regrowth getting nerfed because, oh, this thing is still overpowered. Decreased CER from 20% to 10%. Increased health from 200 to 300, though. So it's getting a bit of a trade. HP, more HP, but less CDR. I understand that. I'm not surprised. Shillalog, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Increased health from 100 to 200. Stone of Binding. Stone of Binding's passive now triggers on all crowd control, not just hard crowd control. So now, this thing is going to be picked up by a Kumbhakarna, that's for sure, because Kumbhakarna is nothing but crowd control. Sunrise Spear upgrade, increased damage debuff from 30% to 25%. Increased cooldown from 90 seconds to 100 seconds. So it's a bit of a... it's just getting nerfed because it was apparently too good. I don't think so, but whatever. One thing to note when you see these gods like Ao Kuang and Izanami, those who have cloaking abilities, minion damage cannot break their cloaks or their invisibility because that could happen. Only god damage like a lucky hit or a tick damage will bring them out of it. Wheelix getting a buff. Mana cost reduced from 85 at all ranks to 60 to now 60 to 80 because she burned through that mana like a mad woman. But now it'll probably do a little more, especially for the early game, because she is the anti-ADC, and I respect her for that. I hate fighting her, but I respect her for that. Kubrakan reduced physical protection from 23 to 20. Tremors decreased damage from 25 to 65 now 22 to 62. It's very subtle, but it feels like it's going to be a big impact. Fat Loki getting wrecked. Camisot's tricks S and pulls at full speeds at all times, whether or not he's in combat. Devour moved brief delay on Devour's leap. Camisot's now begin leaping and is untargetable as soon as this ability is activated. Thank God. It makes sense for him. Kurinos getting nerfed. Good riddance. I thought on paper that the range wasn't that bad, but when you fight him, it's actually pretty annoying. You can't really get out unless you have an immediate dash that you have like an instacast. What I would think if like Kuzenbo players would put their 3 on quick cast, so they can just immediately bolt and push someone around. Like unless you have one of those, it's troublesome to get out. Hunbats. Speaking of guys who can jump, he's getting nerfed. Decreased slow from somersault from 40% to now it has to be level 20 to 40%. Fear no evil. Increased cooldown from 90 seconds to 100 seconds. Oh God, rip my arena dreams, man. Izanami, same thing like Ao Kuang. Kuzenbo getting buffed. Nene Kappa. I'm not making that reference. I'm not going there. Nene Kappa now inherits 20% of Kuzenbo's current health and protections in addition to its base. Basically, he's more threatening. And I'm surprised you haven't seen Kuzenbo late in solo lane. I'm kind of shocked that teams didn't use him that much or at all for solo lane. He looks like a really good solo lane god if he can get ahead. Nausea getting a buff. Universe ring toss. Increased number of bounces from 3 to 7 to 48. Go fuck yourself. Oh, I don't like fighting Nausea. Nox getting a buff. Here's something surprising. Night Terror, her ultimate, decreased cooldown for 90 seconds at all ranks, now 90 to 70. Basically, now she could use her snipe a little more often. Soul, she's already getting love from her freaking announcer pack, but now Stellar Burst no longer has an in-hand penalty when firing. Hydra's Lament, Stormkata has a little thing where Hydra's Lament will only proc on the first stage of this ability. Now, good Susanoo players, like, Susanoo is a god that's easy to learn, but really hard to master in terms of, like, attack canceling and all that. This sounds like melee stuff, but if I'm pretty sure there are plenty of YouTube channels who can explain what attack canceling is, but all you need to know is, in the past, Hydra's Lament could have triggered off out of both his first and second part of Stormkata. If you knew how to attack cancel, basically, you could just use your 1, cancel, and then hit him with a basic once, then reactivate it, use your 2, the spin form, and then hit cancel, hit him again, and then dash. Doing really good damage. And finally, the Morrigan. Minion damage can no longer break your stealth. Same thing like the other two, so yeah. Anyway, good patch, interesting changes. I understand where some of them are. I'm just glad they didn't nerf Chunga. I was afraid they were going to do that when I saw the SPL. But yeah, anyway, expect tomorrow or Friday to actually, speaking of that SPL, there is something I want to talk about. Duke Sloth talked about it, and it's pretty much the same subject from my own little perspective. But yeah, look forward to that, because high-res can be liars sometimes. But anyway, good patch. That'll do it for this video. Any questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. Tell me what you think of the patch, and who do you think should be buffed or nerfed for the next one? Because I think it's Zeus. Jeez. I played a match with him, and he's pretty destructive. But anyway, that'll do it for this video. I will see you guys in another one.